The time is now. It's back to the rhymes. It's like, wow, he's back to the rhymes. I'm in the booth, straight drop the dimes. Clark Kent daily plant the metropolis times. I write these raps while I'm under the gun. I see you back to get you some. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. Pure, raw, uncut, rap. Back to the rhymes. Now's the time. Time to unwind because back to the rhymes. Back to the rhymes. Now's the time. Time to unwind because back to the rhymes. What's going on, y'all? Okay, so uh, here's the list. As you can see, I'm not down in the basement. I'm not down in the bunker or whatever. Upstairs, so that's nice. I guess a social media advisor says this is a great background. She says it's a great background. I don't have to do too much with it. I can just put it like that. Well, that's sure nice to hear. Before she's telling me I need to be over there, which over there is not an option because we're doing stuff to the deck. We got leaks, all kinds of stuff. So, and I'm glad now this is back in action. For a while, it seemed like it was not okay, but apparently it's okay. So, whatever. All right. So, yes, let's share some good news about this right here. School Us album sales. My man, Randy, thank you, my friend. Big shout out. Thank you. And like I said, if there was a one person I was very, very hopeful, very hopeful would want to support and it would line up with his collection and his interests, and that was the case. And so I'm very thankful. So he will receive the album tomorrow. And it was interesting because I was kind of like, I don't want to bother people too much. I see him at work, but it's like, so I was like, yeah, maybe you hadn't, you probably don't carry cash with you. You say, oh yeah, the Cash App. Maybe he thought I was talking about the Cash App or whatever. Or, oh yeah, Zelle. So then, oh yeah, I'll just send it to you. Oh, okay. So thankfully, my wife has a Zelle account, and lickety split, we did it. So that was great. So yeah, that's a couple things. One, do you have a CD player? Two, do you even carry cash even? So and if not, apparently that's a good way to go. So that was great. Thankful for that. Okay, so secondly, country song, don't like sunsets much, something along those lines. So nothing in that regard, but I do have some things to share. Okay, three, YouTube channel. So content wise, so I am sharing the compilation. It's kind of plodding along. I'm a little behind here, mostly sharing with coworkers. I hope to catch up. I'm off Friday, Saturday, it looks like. So if I'm a little behind, I need to get that squared away by then. And away we go. I think about halfway done with that. And so content wise, so I got my man Will on standby. I think I need to get with him on Saturday. Might be the only time. Yeah, Saturday. I think I need to record that with him on Saturday. But I had another idea too with our man Rabbi we met up with on Saturday. He's got a book. Wouldn't mind interviewing him about his book. Like that might be good content to share, and I think he might be up for that too. And that kind of lines up with my next song. I had the other song in mind, but I talked to my friend, and I think we just need to wait a little bit because we have the co-writers. I want them to be able to participate, the youngsters. So it's going to be a little better to wait. So that'll be the following song. But for the next song, I think I'll finish this song today, and then I could probably start on the next song. And I got the concept all figured out, so it should go well. But yeah, so we got that. We got with the social media, TikTok did well again, 800 plus. Instagram was like about 165. Again, it's I should have checked TikTok before I went on. It's instant. And I'm doing this at like 2:30 in the morning. I don't know how it works, And I guess they're talking about banning TikTok again. I might have mentioned that last week, or they need to fix it, or they need to, what do they say? Sell it, make sure it's totally disconnected from whatever the government or something. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyhow, so I don't know. I just don't. It's just so mind blowing how different those two are as far as one instant results, boom, and like I'm a little disappointed I didn't check to see how it did because I can get my instant result, but then there's not even a point of looking at it. But for Instagram, where that got 165 this time around, 4 people shared it. Thank you to you all. If you ever hear me say thank you. Man, that's like a slow. That's stretched out through the whole week, So, that went from Sunday to Friday, where some activity is fun. So it's like, yeah, check it out, And that's like I got my fantasy baseball. We're doing a draft. That's just this ongoing thing too. So I'm checking that out all the time. It's the weirdest thing. We had our main fantasy base. If anybody likes that, I like it. But anyhow, that was like, that's why this is so late at my fantasy baseball draft for the year, basically for the season tonight, 6:30 to like 10. Well, there you go. So look what time I'm doing this, Yeah, we didn't even clean today. So that's enough about the schedule, but just to know, yeah. So as you can see, the time is different from week to week. And in this case, we had fantasy baseball. YouTube, very little, but it's going well with the like the shorts aren't doing much at all, really. But I get a couple people looking at them here and there, like old ones. But the show's been good, like this past week, got an hour and a half of viewing time, and I'm thankful to you all for doing that. It's encouraging, my coworker saying, "Hey Jeff, you made any new raps?" And well, here's my show. Oh, it's kind of long, yeah, I know, but I'm writing raps every week, though. Dog, whatever, it's every week I'm writing raps. So where can I talk? I'll talk about that in a bit. All right, so rules of engagement. I was going to talk about something. It kind of connects maybe to Bellevue Ballers and how to engage people, but I can't think of what I was thinking. No, Bellevue Ballers, though, it's good. Having conversations. All we try to do is transfer information, strategy session. We see things. We have a certain vision with a certain business model, but there's so many things in my life that are not mainstream. So it's par for the course for me. Everything about me is underground, not mainstream. So I'm totally okay with being different in all these areas. It's great. If I was like, I have a song about it. Well, I'll say to the masses. I have a song that you haven't heard yet, but it's a good one. I don't know. I might not have much to say because you'd already be thinking about it. It's just mainstream. All right. Music for background. So, okay. So I went to the synagogue. It's almost like I went with my man Will. I met him there. And it's called Restoration. Shout out, didn't know about him. Finally did a search. I thought, well, we got our folks on the east side, but it's not really happening there. And so where can we go? Lakewood. We met with some people in Vancouver, Washington, but right here, North Seattle. Oh, great. And Will was able to reconnect with a lot of long lost friends, which is such a blessing. And along the way, it's called Ezekiel's Bones. A woman, phenomenal singer, really. She was I guess, the worship leader at the service. But they do events, gigs, I guess, at bars and whatnot. They do covers. I quickly heard the guy, you want to make it a music business, do covers and get a following, and then I don't know, maybe reverse do your own songs. I never heard that. Thought, okay, maybe, it's just throwing it out in this content. But they do that, and that's what I find that's what bands do, right? You do covers. So I guess there's no copyright issues when it comes to doing covers, right? You just go to a bar and sing covers and no problem. I guess as long as you don't record it. I don't know how that works. What are the rules of engagement for doing covers? I don't know. But of course they're doing worship songs, but it's a nice group. I mean, it's like the whole thing right there. So I didn't have the opportunity to meet them, any of the members. It's not a huge congregation, but so since I have next Saturday off, my plan is to meet with some of these folks because I had to get going this Saturday, but next Saturday I'm going to block. I'm just not going to have anything scheduled. They want to go out and have lunch after service. So yeah, I would do that and just see who's around and just, again, it's something I could do about once every 5 weeks. I guess there's an open mic on Saturday too, huh? Man. Alex, I was hearing from Alex about a coffee shop. He must have been talking about that. Anyway, I'm gonna have to check in with him what he had to say. But man, I don't know about the open mic just because for me, it's very to get spiritually right, and it's like I said, it's not perfect because I work 4 out of 5 Saturdays, but that's the 1 out of 5 I can do that and start to be a part of the community. And it's all about being rooted. We talk about even our business being rooted. It's all about being rooted. So, and you'll hear about it in this next song, but it's like there's no roots when it comes to mainstream. I mean, you hear the stories about Catholicism. I mean, they just sound like, I'm sorry, but the story I heard today at church, she would pray to Mary, never thought about praying to Jesus. Is that normal? Wow. Okay. But even still, and I don't want to hit it too close to home, but we're off in some areas in mainstream Christianity, and it's understandable because you're not connected to the roots of the faith, right? And that might just be good enough. I understand, but for me, that's hard because I just want to, if there's the absolute accurate truth and path, I at least want to know what it is, and then I can decide what to do with it once I know. And so that's what's going on. And Will was just loving it. He doesn't smile that much usually. He's smiling the whole way. He was so happy. That's cool. I was glad I could be there when he got reconnected with his peeps. So, and really my peeps in so many ways, and to be so close to home. So yeah, very thankful. So that's for I don't know about music, what would happen with that, but and then I gotta also say, coming back here, I gotta write it again. Wash my hand. Ralph, that's R, on Spotify. I don't know. He's got a podcast. He's got it up there. Must not be too hard. I mean, Ralph, he's up there. And then we got this other fella from the post office who's got a weekly podcast on Spotify. So I guess people do their podcasts and put them on Spotify. Well, who are they going through? Who's going through? Ralph. So I hope to ask him. Tomorrow's going to be another tough day. It's really busy because I didn't work Saturdays and I brought the mail. It's just tomorrow's not looking forward. I knew this was gonna be a hard stretch of days, so I'm making it through, but not easy. Anyhow, so yeah, Spotify. So that's the other thing. So Will's content, I would probably because I already committed to doing his content. I would go finish this compilation, go with his content, come around back to keep my social media advisor happy with my album, and then come back around for something else that I haven't committed to anybody. And I don't want to make any commitments because I want to keep that for what some of my ideas are. I have a few ideas. I've got a few. There's no shortage really. All right. And we got, of course, in the background is right here. We got merch. I can't remember how I got here. Merch. And how's it going with your website? You gonna get that up and running again? I hope so. I hope so, but maybe not right away. Business cards, I hope so. I haven't run out yet. All right, Trump's gonna dump. Looks like it. So he's doing better than ever in the polls. I don't know what to believe about that, but I'm hopeful. I don't know. A lot of stuff is. We'll see what happens. We'll see. We shall see. And again, I think I mentioned last time. Okay, let me say this for 4 years from now. Take Trump out of the race. Bring them all back. Maybe you add Rand Paul. You can bring in Ted Cruz. I think I don't know for sure. I'm very high on Bobby Kennedy Jr. I just am, and everything I hear from him makes too much sense. I haven't heard one thing that sounds like anything other than because they're talking about maybe him being a libertarian candidate or something. So it's just going to make it for interesting debate. Because I sit here and I say, running as an independent allows you to get your issues out there in the general presidential debate. You're not going to win, most likely. You probably can't win as independent. We'll see. It's never been done before. Now, we're ready to come around 4 years from now as a Republican. Of course, in those debates, like Ron Paul, you get your issues out, but it's a much smaller audience. But you have a shot at the actual nomination, which is a pathway to win. So, I don't know what that would look like, but I think, these were pretty worthless debates, the Republican debates this time. But man, I would love to have him in those next time. You're not going to rush that guy. He can only speak so fast anyway, and you can't get upset because he's so limited. But his voice or whatever. But it's really enjoyable. So anyway, that's what's going on. But that's down the road. But I like that kind of stuff. Maybe you do too. But as far as Trump's going, he's got this, and we'll just see how it goes. And talking about my song and stuff is coming up in his campaign rallies and whatnot. So you will be glorified. Yeah, going back to that Ezekiel's bones. So again, haven't met him. So that's more what I want to talk about, not for the songs, my songs. It's more like, because I'm wondering, are these folks making original songs? I kind of don't think so. Pretty sure the pianist, the singer, like I say, wow, she's like, she can do the whole R&B. She can do it all. So I'm so happy. I would love for, hopefully my daughter can hear her sing, and because that's what I just like that. She can let it go. She can do it all. It's just so cool. I'm like, wow, where did you come from? So that was so great to experience that. But then she's accessible because, as their whole group is, because they're doing these little venues and bars or what have you. So yeah, hope to have a conversation with them. So yeah, current events wise, I don't know if I talked about it last week. When did this deal with the state patrol happen? Was that this week where the state patrolman got killed by someone who's not from here legally? They don't want you to even say whatever the term, but man, these are indefensible situations, Seattle rep had the, was it Sanctuary City, and then you have the hand, you can make it sound so wonderful till somebody gets killed, and then it just takes the wind out of, they got to, because that mayor of New York, he's like trying to, like, well, most everyone's good, and okay, but they're not here legally, right? And so you're harboring fugitives. And that's what I said at the end of the song, right? Where I left off. So I'm going to finish that. But that's what happened. Now we have a state patrolman. How do you think these guys are feeling about that? And so if you look at this guy's record, he had been arrested numerous times on basically drunken driving, and they let him go. And oh yeah, ICE chalks to him. I mean, I do have another guest I want to bring in because he honestly knows the immigration stuff better than anybody I know, and he can explain maybe what's going on. And I can say, well, how did these things happen? How does it happen? Because that's what people end up saying. He should be alive. Laken Riley should be alive. I mean, this shouldn't be happening, right? So why? It's really terrible when people's lives are lost for this kind of stuff, Anyway, was I even asking, does Mexico have sanctuary cities? I think I wasn't. I'm pretty sure they don't. They just send them our way. All right, so let me do the song from the beginning, and then I'll finish it. And I like lengthwise, it's definitely good to go. Okay, here we go. Biden's bags of ballots, we got them in the shallot. When all means down, we'll bust them out, because that's the time to count it. Biden's bags of ballots, we got them in the shallot. When all means down, we'll stop the count. You know that we's about it. Biden's bags of ballots, we got them in the shallot. When all man's down, we'll bust them out, because that's the time to count it. Biden's bags of ballots, we got them in the shallot. When all man's down, we'll stop the count. You know that we's about it. There's election deniers and election fraud deniers. Which one requires plausible deniability? Which one sounds just plain silly? If you're unsure, I guess we know you can't. If you're cocksure, you think they use a champ. I'm going to stop you there, Mr. President. Everything you're saying has not been made evident. All the experts have been poured over the facts and have determined your case lacks credibility. All the while, you lack civility. Are you starting to see how this cannot be believed? Biden's bags of ballots, we got them in the shallot. When all man's down, we'll bust them out, because that's the time to count it. Biden's bags of ballots, we got them in the shallot. When all man's down, we'll stop the count. You know that we's about it. Biden's bags of ballots, we got them in the shallot. When all man's down, we'll bust them out, because that's the time to count it. Biden's bags of ballots, we got them in the shallot. When all man's down, we'll stop the count. You know that we's about it. I want to return to the ballot box. I want to go back to pulling a lever. I never wanted to stop voting with my neighbors. But as y'all know, them hustlers are clever. A part-time constituency is no match for the full-time, what we don't want to see, which are career politicians, which are akin to magicians. They pull money out of thin air. They pull policy out of thin air. They pull imagined support out of thin air. And they definitely pull ballots out of thin air. Biden's bags of ballots, we got them in the shallot. When all man's down, we'll bust them out, because that's the time to count it. Biden's bags of ballots, we got them in the shallot. When all man's down, we'll stop the count. You know that we's about it. Biden's bags of ballots, we got them in the shallot. When all man's down, we'll bust them out, because that's the time to count it. Biden's bags of ballots, we got them in the shallot. When all man's down, we'll stop the count. You know that we's about it. He's feigning outrage. He's foaming at the mouth. He's flaming hot. It's your boy from down south, claiming the border ain't locked, saying he wants safety on the block, and that there's gotta be a stop to the harboring of fugitives. So that's 3 minutes. Pretty good. And I forgot to do hashtag is tricky. I remembered once. I remembered all of one time. So sad. All right. He's feigning outrage. He's foaming at the mouth. He's flaming hot. It's your boy from down south. Sounds like kind of iced tea. South. You know, I don't know. That sounded pretty good to me. All right. Claiming the border ain't locked. Saying he wants safety on the block. That there's got to be a stop to the harboring of fugitives. There was a rap song called Fugitive. K Solo back in the day. I always liked that. And of course, somebody who knows the old school 70s funk would know the sample or whatever. I didn't. Didn't look it up back then. It wasn't as easy to do. But yeah, it was good. I remember a guy at the stoplight at 23rd and Union with McLean's bumping that. Yes, I do remember that. Okay. I think it was 23rd and Union. All right. Claiming the border ain't locked. Saying he wants safety on the block. That there's got to be a stop to the harboring of fugitives. It's kind of like Rush would talk about Obama. It's kind of like he's campaigning against himself. So that's kind of an interesting tactic, right? So not that he's not in charge of the border, the governor of Georgia. So he certainly, he can kind of distance himself. But when you were opposing the nominee, just like so many other Republicans, that's what's different this time. What's different this time is we have a Speaker of the House that doesn't hate the president. The President Trump going to back the president, you know what I mean? The former, it's you can't if you say the current, it gets confusing, right? We know it's President Trump, right? Okay, so he didn't hate him. They're on the same team. Now we got McConnell retiring. Wow, who's going to take his spot? It's got to be somebody. It's got to be an upgrade, right? And Romney left too. It's like, whoa, great. It's like, so the stage is getting set for a better, because that's what messed people up last time is you had the House, the Senate, and the presidency and got nothing done because they weren't on the same page. All right. So what are we going to say? So the harboring. Okay. So that there's got to be I better write something. I'm running out of time. There's got to be a stop to the harboring of fugitives. So will you this time, Governor Kemp, put all your differences aside and get behind President Trump? That's the question. So maybe I'll say that. Okay. Now this is just a plea to him. Will you this time? And it was just, I think the primaries happened in Georgia. Of course, the two obvious nominees are going to win. Will you this time, Governor Kemp, put aside all past differences with our party's nominee and support him? Because not doing so is a ridiculous idea. Nobody, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Now get to work. If you don't mind. For the people. How's that for a wrap? I just had to lay it out there. And then I will use that in my next, my next short or what have you. But that's it. That's just a plea. Let's make it right. Because Trump will call you Georgia Brian, just like Texas Ted, right? He'll love you.